Hello and welcome to Talk Tech. I'm Kristen White, and here on the show with me I have Vineet Jain, founder and CEO of Egnyte. So tell me about the company.
Egnyte is 2 years old. We've been building a product for almost 16 months, and very recently we released the product in February of this year.
Okay.
And the product is an on-demand file server.
Great. So tell me more about the features of your product.
Egnyte is intended to be capitalizing on three distinct trends. One is broadband is much easier to get, storage is getting cheaper, and people are getting very comfortable with on-demand applications. So we looked at that physical box that a small business has to buy, which is the classical file server.
Right.
And associate with that a lot of point solutions and a lot of maintenance overhead. And we decided to build an on-demand file server, which replaces that with no maintenance overhead and a lot more features.
I see. So the server is now on the web instead of a physical server.
That is correct.
At the small business.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, I see. So explain kind of more about the different, so I know there are sharing options, there are storage options, there are backup options. Explain more about that.
The three fundamental things we have built into the first release of our product are, from a business point of view, they need centralized storage for all their corporate data.
Right.
Also, a small business, by its very definition, needs to have much larger number of touch points outside and hence a layer of collaboration. And also, they need to protect their employees' file and email folders and therefore backup capability onto a physical file server. We have bundled all of these three things with one interface into the Egnyte on-demand file server.
So are there any security concerns with with companies storing employee information, kind of confidential data?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, one fundamental tenet or design principle that we had to follow from day one is you need to provide business class security and privacy. Because the way you look at an information-centric small business has the same exact needs like a large enterprise, except that they cannot spend the same kind of money. So security, both from a network, application security, and also physical security point of view, is fundamental to success in this market. The three basic design principles here are: performance has to be top-notch. As I was saying earlier, now you're replacing that physical box running in the LAN to something running off the public internet.
Right.
And even if you have the fastest possible connection, you're looking at 1/25th the speed. So latency issues are fundamental. The other aspect is security that we touched upon briefly, that you have to provide this application where all access routes to your data are secure, whether it's through the web or through the direct desktop.
Right, right. So how can you ensure that?
In pure technical terms, if you access your data using a web browser, it goes over HTTPS,
Right.
and that is already 128-bit encrypted.
Okay.
If you access it directly off your desktop, which is another core principle or one of our core differentiators out there, where you can access your file server just like a C drive on your computer or
Right.
through your Finder, and that connection also happens over HTTPS.
So what are some examples of some customers that use Egnyte in different industries?
So there are actually, the way I look at this market today from a functional point of view, we're having three distinct use cases where people are beginning to use Egnyte extensively. One is people are about to get rid of an existing server, and either they're looking at augmenting it with a much better machine, or looking at is there something alternative to that where they don't have to do maintenance overhead and manage the hardware. That's where they look at Egnyte, and they sign up and start using our cloud-based file server. The other is large corporations, where we're finding departments using Egnyte for tying up multiple remote offices as a centralized storage.
Okay.
And then third, of course, is companies. They use a physical box in the office for classical file server needs, like running multi-user apps, but augmenting that with Egnyte for storing and sharing files across their entire team set. And given that people are working more and more remotely or distributed teams, the fact that you can access it from anywhere securely is another big reason why they're doing it for that exact use.
What types of businesses are you discovering that your product is really resonating with?
We're finding, despite selling the product horizontally, there are 4 different categories that seem to be emerging. We're having very good traction with medical professionals, where they're beginning to use Egnyte for uploading extremely large files, which could be, your scanned images. Radiology is using it for sharing X-ray images. So that's one distinct area, the medical professionals. The other area we're having very good traction with is the web and print design community, where the files tend to be large and there's a lot of extensive collaboration. And the third one is engineering construction firms using Egnyte for storing and sharing large files, which could be CAD/CAM drawings.
Right.
And then fourthly, we're having pretty good success with the financial community, which could be all the way from a classical CPA firm to somebody doing financial consulting for their customers and using Egnyte for centralized storage of critical data and then sharing it with the respective parties securely.
So how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors?
The way we look at the competitive landscape is on one end of the spectrum, you have a lot of consumer-oriented solutions where some of them are providing a pure play backup like a Mozy or a Carbonite, or pure play web-based sharing and storage of information. We put Box.net in that category. The way we feel that the small business market, which is what we're focusing on and not on the classical consumer, is the security and privacy needs of a small business cannot be adequately addressed by consumer-oriented solutions.
Right.
And on the other end of the spectrum, you have large enterprise class solutions like Microsoft SharePoint or EMC eRoom, which are designed to be deployed and managed by IT people. And they're trying to morph it down to small businesses, but it's not designed from grounds up for the SMB market, which is where we really excel.
Okay, so there's consumer-focused companies. What is it that they don't provide that small businesses need?
See, there are two aspects to this question. One is you have to encapsulate all the basic business needs of a small business, which runs the entire gamut of centralized storage, collaboration, and backup, all in one solution. A lot of these companies provide one or another function. It's
Right.
not integrated.
Okay.
And secondly, one of the things you've touched upon earlier is the security and privacy aspect of your solution is so fundamental, especially you're asking businesses to trust with their most core asset, which is their digital data with you. That has to be ingrained in the design of the product from day one in all the different layers.
Right.
And that's another area where we are seeing we're having very good traction in the market.
So I understand you have a big announcement to make about the iPhone and the integration of your product with the iPhone.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. And the way we are looking at the core foundational product we built was the on-demand file server, which has these three aspects. But if you look at today, and especially like this iPhone or any other smartphone, this is basically becoming a computer now that you pretty much carry with yourself.
Right.
But there's no storage on this device, or very little
Yeah.
storage. So what we have done is, this is the first smartphone we're going after, where using this, I have basically enabled your Egnyte file server as a mobile drive, which we're tagging as your M drive, that I can access from anywhere. My corporate data, I can share files on the fly, including my own personal backup, all accessible using the iPhone.
So how many users do you have at this point?
Actually, in a short span, since we launched the product in February of this year, we have grown past 1,000 plus customers.
Oh, wow.
And we average around 5 seats per customer. So now the way the licensing works is we give you what we call as power user licenses, which is what you pay for. And that could be similar to employees in the organization. But we give you unlimited free standard user licenses, which is your business associates. So
Okay.
today we are averaging for each paid seat approximately 6 free users using the Egnyte account.
Okay. Okay. And what does that pricing look like? So for that company of 6, what are they paying per month?
So let's say a company of 6 people, the basic pricing is $15 per power user per month.
Okay.
So a 6 power user seat would translate to $90. It comes with unlimited storage.
Okay.
And we truly mean unlimited. There's nothing in subtext. There's no constraint on bandwidth usage or file size limitations. And also unlimited standard user licenses, which is meant for your business partners.
Okay, I see. So that was just in February, you said. So between February and now, you've gotten 1,000 users.
Yeah, and also
or 1,000 plus.
1,000 plus, yeah. And if you put that in perspective, that I and another guy, this is our second startup.
Okay.
So we self-funded this for 2 years and took
Oh,
no
wow.
extra money or any money out from the outside. Once we had de-risked the product in terms of engineering, we showed the traction. In July of this year, we closed our first round of funding.